Well, hello, and thank you for tuning in to Un Poco Mas. My name is DannyDealz. The executive producer of today's show is Hurricane Lopez, my mentor and our head analyst here at Strong Arm Trading. Um, I'm here today to talk with you about the NIO stock, ticker symbol NIO. This is obviously, I'm sure you all know, a Chinese electric vehicle manufacturer that is has one of the most diverse product lines of any EV company. They're bringing out new models constantly. Um, Today, I would like to talk with you about a couple of things. It is April 11th at about noon out here in Los Angeles. It's a little after 3 p.m. out in NYC. Hope it's a great day wherever you find yourself in this beautiful world that we all share. Um, the NEO stock is trading at $9.56. It's up 51 cents or 5.58% on the day. So very strong day for NEO. Let me share my screen here. Yahoo Finance, you can see volumes about 39 million, so pretty heavy volume. Obviously, NEO trades a lot of shares. It's one of those stocks that, it's a retail favorite, a lot of institutional investors. There's some short activity, tons of options activity. One thing you know about NEO is they love to kill these short term retail options. So if you take a look at the calls coming due this Friday, the 14th, sure as Shinola, huge volume of calls at 9:50 and 10, and then some at 9 and 10:50, but 9:50 and 10, huge volume there. So you know that the market makers who collected all that premium are going to really try to kill those calls and keep the stock under probably, oh, I don't know, the $9.70 level, 9.75, where you'd 9.80, where you'd make any money on those 9.50 calls. And certainly they don't want those $10 calls to print. They'd be in big trouble because there is about 18,000 of those bad Oscars. And if you get really good news and it takes off, boy, are they paying through the nose on those call options. But market makers do not like to pay off retail investors. So they're probably going to do everything they can to kill those calls, dump short, spread some FUD, watch for some articles. For some of these consummate bears, they'll, if the stock is starting to creep up, get a little momentum, getting close to where those calls are going to print, they will put out a couple of hit pieces in a couple of the usual places, and they will splash them all over the front pages of, the stocks page here on Yahoo and other places. So anyway, that's just how it goes. I never recommend that you buy these short-term call options. It's a sucker bet. They're far too easy to kill and manipulate. Just buy long shares. I know you don't get leverage, but it's much safer and you can't get in trouble. You're not going to get any type of margin call. You're not going to go right to zero like your options will if market makers decide to kill them that week. So my advice is if you're just the average investor, you know, only use options to hedge if you're overextended on a certain position, or perhaps if you want to do some leaps or something like that, where time might be on your side buying a call, rather than the decay being so fast over the course of the week that, you know, market makers are just taking advantage of you on these like 1 week calls. In any case, I want to talk about NEO. I want to talk about a couple of issues. First off, less is more. I want to talk about focus. Secondly, I want to talk about production and disappointments. And thirdly, I want to talk about margins and where do we see the stock going from here, along with where do we see production going from here. First, focus. I want to go pretty quickly through this just because I know your time is extremely valuable, and God knows I have important things to do. That's why I'm making YouTube videos that about 3 people watch. But I digress. Anyway, stock is still up 51 cents, but we need to focus. NIO's bringing out a new model. I think it's ES6, and then they're bringing out the revamped ET7 at the new auto show. The ET7 had problems, didn't sell well, production issues. This is my quick advice for NIO, and this is what I wish they do. They have a good product line. I know they want a diversity of products. hatchback, sedan, wagon, SUV, and multiple across all. They're talking about, like 8 models already. My advice, and what I think the company should do, is focus on 5 models, like maximum, 2 sedans, 2 SUVs, and the one hatchback. Those sold very well for Mercedes, BMW. People like those rounded hatchbacks. Fine, 5. Um, Focus on those models, perfect them, ramp production. You get better margins with less SKUs. So focus on 5 models maximum under NIO, and stop with trying to provide endless choices, because you can't ramp production that way. It's a very young company. Tesla, which is a more mature company, making many, many, many times, multiple times the cars of NIO, and just making a profit. In fact, Tesla really sells 2 models. I mean, I know they sell the Model X and the Model S, but look at their sales. It's all Model Y and Model 3. I mean, those are the price points they're hitting, but until they get a more affordable car out, those are the cars people want to pay for. I mean, most people can't afford a $120,000 car. Ask Lucid. It's a crappy business model. But in any case, Tesla is a good example of focus, and that's how you expand, and that's how you get to a mass market. That's how you reach scale. That's how you reach profitability. You don't do that poking around through 8 models, most of which will never sell any units. I mean, look at what's selling. The ET5 is selling. They're ramping up production, albeit painfully slowly. But let's look at what's selling. Let's look at what people want. Let's listen to the market. Let's listen to the consumer. Along those lines, the sub brands. Focus on one sub brand at a time. It's simply too ambitious. NIO's already had some stumbles with their production, with their rollout, with their planning, with their supply chain management. 2 sub brands at simultaneously, I think, is too much. If they want to roll one out in 2024, 2025, for the European market, or in a more affordable one, I think they should be able to consolidate, the sub brand, where there's one sub brand. Maybe they label it differently for Europe and China, but one affordable compact sub brand is enough. And then, if, say, the turn of the decade, 7, 8 years, you feel that you need another sub brand at that point, sub away. But I think for right now, 5 models under the NIO nameplate, a sub brand with a compact, say 2 or 3 models that are all in the same platform, that can also use that NIO battery swap architecture. I mean, I think that's a winner, but you have to focus to some degree. Focus on the markets, China and a portion of Europe, where you can build out battery swap. You can't focus on all of Europe at once. You're not moving enough units. You don't have enough battery swap. Focus the battery swap where it can be effective. Attack Germany. Attack Scandinavia. Don't jump into the Western, Europe, France, Britain. Those markets aren't as lucrative. People are adopting in Scandinavia like crazy. People are adopting in Germany like crazy. Go after those markets, and you have a market in China that's so huge. You're never gonna max out that market in the next 10 plus years. So let's focus where we can gain some traction and gain a foothold, and where we can build out battery swap to the point that it makes sense for the consumer. Just putting one battery swap here, one battery swap here, all over Europe. Hey, we've got one in Oslo, we've got one in Frankfurt. That doesn't help people get across Europe. Let's think about making it work in Germany. Let's think about making it work in Scandinavia, and then proving the model and scaling it that way, not just scattershot everywhere all at once. Ditch the phone. I don't want to hear any more about NIO phone. Tesla doesn't have a phone. Bentley doesn't have a phone. You have an app. The app is the experience. People, you're not gonna put Apple out of business. You're not gonna put Samsung out of business. You're not gonna put Google out of business. You're a small nothing car company in China. I love the company. I love NIO. I'm a NIO investor. I have been for a long time. But you're not going to put the phone guys out of business. People don't want NIO phones. It's a vanity project. It's too much. Scrap it. Don't spend another dime on it. Put that money into battery production, R&D in batteries, software, full self-driving, battery swap, the things that are core to your business and customer experience. Neophone is going to be nothing but problems. Focus, focus, focus. Less is more. I know I'm rambling. I know I'm talking fast. I'm all hopped up on espresso and Easter leftovers. Okay, moving on to production. I know we've all been disappointed. Production the last couple weeks has looked pretty good, 3,700 units and I think 3,200 units. So I think we're going to jump back up this month from sort of that 10,000 range we've been languishing in, back say in maybe the 14 to 15,000 range, I hope. And then it's up from there. Listen, management has told us 250,000 units. We're going to do that this year. So do the math. They only did 31,000 for the first quarter. That leaves 220,000 units for those next 9 months. So management is confident they are going to significantly ramp up production in not only this quarter, but especially in the second half of the year. Can they do it? They could, but they have to execute. I mean, the plant is there. The demand, I think, is there to a certain extent. The wait times currently are only like 2 to 3 weeks, I believe, for the ET5. They just lowered them again. But they've also held pretty firm on their pricing. They're also just announced today that they're going to be spinning off some of their software as a subscription model. Um, and so they have a revenue model that's going to give them multiple revenue streams, battery leasing. They're going to be, having a lot of other cars, especially within China, utilizing their charging network. I predict that they're going to license their entire architecture of their vehicles, including the battery and drivetrain, to some other smaller companies that need to get into the EV game and have no hope of building out battery swap, or potentially they could be acquired by, good example, BYD or some other company that really wants to be in the car business. I don't know if that could be a Japanese company, if that could be an American tech company. Who knows? But that's just pure speculation. Anyway, where's the stock going? A lot of that depends on production. That's the way these EV companies have been priced by the market. I don't think it makes a lot of sense because it's completely unfair to NIO because they have so much more going on. Like Li, they have one model. It's not even a true EV. Xpeng, they just had a couple of models. Even Tesla, they really only sell a couple models. NIO is trying to build its house out of bricks, build a foundation, battery swap, in-house battery R&D and production. Um, all of these models for different price points, the sub brand, the expansion. NIO is trying to do so much. Are they trying to do too much too fast? I think perhaps. That's why the whole first part of my video was rambling about less is more and about focus on the core business. And within that business, focus your offerings, focus your energies on things that are effective, on things that make sense. Because obviously, with all these models and doing all these different things, you're going to have problems with your margins, because the way you get margins is to scale. And if you only make one or two cars and you can scale those units, so all of your production is in one model, like say Model Y, you're going to be able to build those cheaper because you're building more parts. The people who build them can focus on that one task. If you're doing all kinds of different models, you need more parts, you have more SKUs, you have more processes, you need more training. You're constantly tearing down your production line and retooling. I mean, they're already retooling the ET7 for a new introduction, and they never even sold the first one, really. So, I need NIO to focus. They have massive potential to do great things. Where is the stock going? Good question. I'm glad you asked. Let's take a look. Basically, for 6 months, NIO hasn't gotten past this $13 range. Um, so that's the first thing they need to do. I know this is a very simplistic, stupid way of explaining and pricing the stock, but I see it like this. If they can produce over 13,000 units consistently, next quarter or two, their stock price will probably, languish down here around 10 or under. If they can get up to 15, 16, 17,000, I see them breaking through that 13 barrier. If they can get up to consistently doing 20,000 units per month, where we can see they're definitely going to produce close to that 250,000, or at least anywhere in that neighborhood, I think we're going to see the stock approach this $20 figure that has been some resistance here and seeing some selling pressure previously in the middle of 2022. If we do go ahead and break through the 250,000 mark for this year, that means execution has gone extremely well, sales are going well, the economy is going well, we don't have war in China, then I think, we will definitely exceed this $24 price point that was a high back on June 20th, 2022. Um, that's where we are with NIO. There's a lot of good news for the stock. Production looks fairly stable right now. Management, I think, has been a bit humbled and is learning some lessons in that they have to walk before they can run. They have to get production right on the vehicles they have and get those vehicles selling before they make entirely new vehicles. But at the same time, I'm extremely happy as a NIO investor that they are constantly innovating, constantly pushing the envelope, and that they're laying the foundation to be a great global company in 10 years, not just how many cars can we sell next month. That's why I like the NIO stock. I like the philosophy, I like the product, I like the management, I like the outlook, I like the vision, and I like the stock. Thank you for watching. This has been an update on NIO. My name is DannyDealz. The show is Un Poco Mas, where we try to give you a little bit more. I'd like to thank my mentor, the head analyst, the man in charge, Hurricane Lopez. It is April 11th, 2023. It's 12:30 p.m. in Los Angeles, 3:30 out in NYC. We got 30 minutes till the market closes. NIO's trading up 52 cents or almost 6% at $9.57, and it's about to crack 40 million on the volume. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day. Remember, this is not financial advice. I don't know anything. I'm just some curly-headed freak on the internet. Do your own research. Think for yourself. If you don't know what the hell you're doing, buy an index fund or consult a financial advisor, which I am not, but I am your friend. I'm DannyDealz. Have a great day.